Daniel Khalife was remanded in custody at HMP Wandsworth on the 28th of January this year, having been charged with offences alleged to have taken place in 2021 while he was serving in the armed forces. As you, Madam Deputy Speaker, have already indicated, the House will understand that while there is a live criminal investigation in progress, there are limits on what I can properly say. Daniel Khalife will be caught in due course and will face a trial. Nothing should be said in this House or elsewhere that might prejudice those proceedings. So let me assist the House with what I can say. At approximately 7:30 yesterday morning, a vehicle which had made a delivery to the prison's kitchen left HMP Wandsworth. Shortly afterwards, local contingency plans for an unaccounted prisoner were activated, and in line with standard procedure, the police were informed. The prison was put into a state of lockdown while staff attempted to determine Daniel Khalife's whereabouts. The vehicle was stopped and searched by police after the alert was raised. Strapping was found underneath the vehicle, which appeared to indicate that Daniel Khalife may have held onto the underside of it in order to escape. The search is underway. His Majesty's Prison and Probation Service are giving every assistance to the Metropolitan Police's operation to recapture Daniel Khalife and return him to custody. As has been made clear by the Metropolitan Police, there is no reason to believe he poses a threat to the wider public. Yesterday, when I was first briefed on this grave security breach, I spoke to the Governor of HMP Wandsworth and senior HMPPS leaders to establish what was known about the escape and seek assurances about the immediate measures being taken to ensure the security of the prison. I made clear then, and I reiterate now, that no stone must be left unturned in getting to the bottom of what happened. Who was on duty that morning? In what roles? Ranging from the kitchen to the prison gate. What protocols were in place? Were they followed? Second, I have ordered an investigation into the categorisation decision by HMPPS. Were all relevant matters taken into consideration in determining where in the custodial estate Daniel Khalife should be held? In both cases, I've asked for the preliminary findings to be with me by the end of this week, and an assessment will be made then about what can properly be put into the public domain. I have also decided there will need to be an additional independent investigation into this incident, and that will take place in due course. I want to turn, Madam Deputy Speaker, to the wider prisoner cohort held by HMPPS. In light of these events, I've ordered 2 urgent reviews. First, into the placement and categorisation of everyone held in HMP Wandsworth, and second, into the location of all those in the custodial estate charged with terrorism offences. Let me turn now to the issue of prison security. As the House will no doubt be aware, escapes from prison are extremely rare, and the numbers have declined substantially in the last 10 to 15 years. This has been due in considerable part to sustained investment in improved physical and intelligence security. That includes investment of £100 million in the period since 2019 on measures such as enhanced gate security with X-ray body scanners, which has driven up the fines of drugs, weapons and other contraband, including tools that could be used to aid in escape from prison. HMPPS has also enhanced intelligence and anti-corruption operations in prison, working more closely than ever with partners including the intelligence agencies. This has involved productive initiatives such as setting up the joint counter-terrorism, prisons and probation hub. Madam Deputy Speaker, Daniel Khalife will be found and he will be made to face justice. I commend this statement to the House.
Shadow Secretary of State, Shabana Mahmood.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank the Secretary of State for advance sight of his statement, and I would like to reiterate our support for the police and all of those who are involved in the search to recapture Daniel Khalife, and I very much hope that that search will be brought to a swift and successful conclusion so that the rest of the legal process may take place. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is an extremely serious matter, and it has highlighted catastrophic and multiple failures, not just in respect of this case, but of our wider criminal justice system. It simply beggars belief that a man being held on suspected terror charges was able to escape a prison by clinging to the bottom of a food delivery van. The simplest question for the Justice Secretary today is how on earth was this allowed to happen? How is such an escape even possible, and nothing that he has said to the House today so far gets us remotely close to a full answer to this central question. Now, I know he will say when he responds to me that it is early days, that he has ordered the relevant investigations and they must have some time to conclude. But with respect, Madam Deputy Speaker, it gives me no confidence that the Secretary of State has today arrived with a list of very basic questions that, frankly, he should already know some of the answers to and be able to share with the House today. I note with complete agreement both what he says and your direction, Madam Deputy Speaker, that nothing must be said, either in the Chamber or indeed anywhere else, that may prejudice any future trial or indeed the live operation that is currently underway. But the circumstances and the facts of the escape itself are a separate matter that it is of legitimate and urgent concern to this House and also to the wider public, and that is separate from the nature of any and all charges that will form the basis of future trials or other investigations. And really, the Justice Secretary does need to give much fuller answers to the House today rather than a list of his own questions. And so on the circumstances of the escape itself, can he at least tell the House when he responds how many staff were on duty at Wandsworth Prison yesterday? Is he confident, and can he tell us that all of the relevant searches were done, and where there are failures, perhaps the number of protocols that he is concerned may have been breached? Will his investigations assess the quality of the training and the experience of prison staff at HMP Wandsworth? And will he be bringing in any additional expertise to assist with those matters whilst he is getting on top of the facts himself? In respect of the categorisation of this particular prisoner, Madam Deputy Speaker, why was a suspected terror offender held at a Category B jail whilst on remand, despite many other suspected and indeed convicted terrorists being held in the high security estate? Why was Daniel Khalife moved from Belmarsh to Wandsworth? And can he at least tell us whether a risk assessment before any such move took place was undertaken? That is at least a yes or a no answer. Can you tell us how many similar suspects are in Category B or indeed HMP Wandsworth, and what is the timescale for such an assessment? In relation to the two urgent reviews, may I say to him, with respect, it should be a relatively short exercise to get across the detail and indeed the total number of the current prison population at Wandsworth, and the fact that the Justice Secretary hasn't come to the House with even that small amount of detail, I think, I do have to say, Madam Deputy Speaker, is unacceptable. On the issue of the location of all of those charged with terror offences, can you tell us the total number of the individuals that are being considered in this category as of today across the whole of the prison estate? When will that urgent review of those numbers, and I hope he can share the total number, when will that urgent review take place? And I accept he cannot share any details, but does he know the number of individuals that might be of concern and who may need to be moved to a different location given the events of yesterday? On the broader investigation, Madam Deputy Speaker, I note the Secretary of State has ordered a fuller investigation. Can he say anything today in his response to me in relation to the terms of reference for such an investigation? What does he envisage for the timescale for that longer, fuller investigation? And on the matter of independence, can he give us some reassurance as to whether he will make sure that it won't be a case of him and others who are responsible ultimately for this failure marking their own homework? What consideration is he given to the independence and the identity of who might be carrying out that investigation for him? Madam Deputy Speaker, the developments of the last 24 hours have shown us yet another example of the Conservative mismanagement, which has meant that they are unable to run vast swathes of the public realm, whether it be schools threatening our children's education and their learning, or now with a terror suspect on the loose. Ultimately, one of the main functions of government is to keep its citizens safe. And on his watch, Madam Deputy Speaker, courts are in crisis, probation is in crisis, the CPS is in crisis, and prisons are in crisis. So finally, when will the Secretary of State get a grip?
Yeah.